There hasn't been a murder in Fabletown in a long time.
Do your job, Sheriff, or we'll find someone who can.
I didn't kill her. You believe me, right?
You're not as bad as everyone says you are.
People get up to all kinds of things when nobody's watching.
What kind of monster would do this? I just don't understand.
This thing reaches a lot further than we thought.
Job is to protect us. That's not what you've been doing. Where are you when we ever fucking need you?
What did you do with my wife?
We need to do things the right way. Because our way of doing things is broken.
Who will protect you from the big bad?
The Wolf Among Us. Wow, what can I say? The trailer we just watched really hypes up the game quite nicely and creates the urge to play it sooner than later. It doesn't quite go through the functions of what makes this game interesting, but instead focuses on the overall narrative of the story. What is most interesting about this game is that you, the player, get to make the decisions that alter the story of the game. This is the first time that I have personally played a game like this and found the idea exhilarating. Originally inspired by the comic book Fables by Bill Willingham, the game plays off of common knowledge fairy tales, and not just the polished Disney versions either. It's set in a contemporary world after being exiled from their fairy tale lives. The characters we know from the tales like Little Red Riding Hood, Beauty and the Beast, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and Alice in Wonderland, to name just a few, now live in a New York-like setting called Fableton, where they must hide their identity by disguising themselves as humans with the use of magic. But what happens when one of their own turns on them?
Of the head, it's exact, purposeful. She was placed here precisely for us to find. All of us.
The game itself looks brilliantly designed, keeping the comic book look, utilizing 80s style pops of color and presenting the storyline like a classic noir film. It's a whodunit tale, and as I said before, you, the player, get to make the choices that affect the game. Or so they say. So I wanted to dive into this and see really and truly if I, the player, had a pinch of agency in the game, or if it was just a bunch of hocus pocus. Now, what is agency? An amazing video from Extra Credits does an amazing in-depth breakdown of what it is, but essentially is the idea that the player has a certain control of the game. Am I locked into this particular story, or can I make my own? And more importantly, do my choices matter? For example, I hear that Fallout New Vegas has great agency, where each choice changes the story a lot. I began my journey by creating a spreadsheet that displays the first choice options presented in the game by Mr. Toad. I then looked on the web, knowing there'd be several gameplay walkthroughs, and included a piece of my own to track the differences. The first choice gave 4 options to choose from, W, X, Y, and Z. I then highlighted the choices and noted each of the responses the choices would trigger. Comparing all 4 options, this is what I found.
Oh, it's a frog.
Mr. Toad?
Shit. Bigby! Listen, mate, I know I don't look human. It's a problem, I get it. I just stepped out the apartment for just a second to see what kind of damage this drug shit is doing. Just cut me a break, yeah? I'll get me glamour first thing in the morning. Cross my heart.
No harm
No
done.
need to
Enough
kick up a
excuses.
fuss.
I'm looking at a 3-foot toe.
Enough excuses, Toad.
No harm done, I guess. I don't know.
Come on, Bigby. Say something.
Simple as that.
Are you starting to scare me?
Silence is a
Can't afford to look human, you're going to the farm. Simple as that.
You can't send me up to live with those animals. Fucking hell! See? This is what I told you about.
And this is when I realized this was a lot of work and was really kind of dumb. Because the first choice in a game is usually presented to demonstrate the mechanics of the game. It doesn't really have any weight. Aside from Mr. Toad giving me a response and me having an emotional reaction to it, essentially it led to me going up the stairs. So I did what any player would do, and I looked on the internet to see if anyone had already done the work for me, and here's what I found. A post by Elise Favis titled, "Opinion, Your Choices Don't Matter in Telltale Games," in which Favis states, "I can't help but feel a bit deceived. The main stories in Telltale Games are as linear as The Last of Us. With only small exceptions, various choices make you one or two changes in dialogue and can alter how other characters treat you, but it does not change the main plot significantly." Had I been a victim of choice illusion? Had we been hoodwinked?
Just some loose trash.
Being an ex-journalist for 2 TV stations in Texas, I knew not to rely on a single source, and if anything mattered, it certainly wasn't opinions. So I kept searching, and what I found was a game guide from Game Pressure. Here was a factual map of what choices led to what, and to my surprise, Favis was kind of right. Here, I was thinking the storyline worked like a tree, stemming from a single root, spreading out into multiple branches where every choice heavily affected what would happen next. But instead, realized I was basically on a string of pearls, where certain choices still pushed the plot along in the direction it needed to go. It didn't change much of anything except maybe a few lines and minor changes here and there, but essentially, the story remained the same. I then remembered reading a quote in which Jesse Shell wrote in the book, The Art of Game Design, a book of lenses. We care about creating experiences. Looking back at playing the game with that in mind, I still had a lot of fun and found the illusion of choice to be fine. Because what ended up happening was that I changed what the characters felt about me, which was a big part of Bigby's development as a character. But more importantly, me, the player, gave Bigby a soul. And that was cool. Thanks for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope you've learned as much as I have during the process. And I hope you enjoy the game as much as I did.